original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
To a MAGA conservative movie. We're just trying to represent the values that Snow White is based in. The timeless values that we all loved growing up that are sadly.
But it's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs has long been a cherished classic, loved by generations as one of Disney's most iconic films. However, the announcement of a live-action remake quickly sparked controversy, leaving fans divided over several creative choices. A major point of contention has been the casting of Rachel Zegler as Snow White. Disney's decision to cast a Latina actress in a role traditionally associated with German roots has polarized audiences. While diversity in casting is generally celebrated, some critics argue that the remake should have adhered more closely to the character's European origins. They believe that Snow White, with her deep connections to German folklore, should have been portrayed by someone reflecting that cultural heritage. As the debate intensified, fans turned to the Daily Wire, which announced its plans to produce an alternate version of Snow White that promises to stay true to the classic tale. This announcement reportedly infuriated Zegler, adding another layer of drama to the situation. The controversy surrounding the remake wasn't limited to casting alone. Zegler herself contributed to the backlash by openly criticizing the original 1937 animated film in several interviews. She described the classic as creepy and stalkerish, particularly criticizing the romantic dynamics between Snow White and Prince Charming. Zegler suggested that the new film would move away from the traditional true love's kiss storyline in favor of a more feminist narrative, where Snow White's character is portrayed as relying on her own strength and independence rather than being saved by a prince. While some have praised this modern approach, it has also divided fans, many of whom feel that the changes undermine the charm and innocence of the original film. For those who hold the 1937 version dear, the departure from its key elements seems like a significant deviation from what made the classic special. With Zegler's critique of the original film, the shift in storyline, and the non-traditional casting choices, many fans are concerned that Disney's live-action Snow White is straying too far from the beloved tale that has captivated audiences for decades. The backlash against the film continues to escalate, with passionate debates taking place across social media platforms. Some fans are open to the idea of a fresh take on the story, celebrating the diversity and updated themes. Others express disappointment, worried that too many liberties are being taken with a classic they hold in high regard. As the film moves closer to its release, Disney faces the challenging task of balancing modern sensibilities with the expectations of fans who cherish the original. Whether the live-action version will be a successful reimagining or a controversial misstep remains to be seen, but it is clear that the decisions made have ignited a heated and ongoing debate about the future of one of Disney's most iconic films.
She's saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave.
This revelation was obviously met with mixed emotions, as fans felt that it was possibly taking too much away from what made the original movie such a smash. One fan even made it as apparent as possible that this is no longer Snow White but a different movie using its name, adding gasoline to the fire. Disney made things even worse when they announced that instead of the iconic Seven Dwarfs, the live-action version would feature magical creatures. For many, this change was a step too far. The Seven Dwarfs aren't just background characters, they are central to the charm of the original story. Fans took to social media to express their outrage, with some saying that removing the dwarves was a clear example of Disney pandering to modern sensibilities. The backlash was so intense that Disney was forced to push back the film's release to bring the dwarfs back into the picture. However, as we all know, the new and improved dwarves aren't necessarily what fans imagine either, as the full CGI looks have been heavily criticized by fans for their uncanny valley fill. Once again, it felt like Disney was avoiding giving the roles to those who are most represented by them, as there are many actors with dwarfism out there who would Disney movie in response to the continuing debate. David Hahn, a former Disney designer and son of one of the original filmmakers of Snow White, did not hold back in his criticism, going so far as to term the new picture demeaning to both his father's legacy and Disney's original vision. David then criticized Disney for disrespecting its own history in favor of modernizing the story for today's audience, saying they've lost touch with what made the original so special. But it was because of all this backlash that another studio felt inspired to create something that would truly capture the original Snow White spirit and feel. The Daily Wire, known more for his political commentary than its filmmaking, has announced that it is working on its own version of Brett Cooper, who is set to star as Snow White in this new project, has made it clear that their version will be accurate to the original tale, but still very much engaging for today's audience with their own modern spin. This is why when the Daily Wire's first teaser for the movie dropped, an overwhelming amount of people reacted with joy and positivity. The Daily Wire's version seems to have captured them of the original film, leaving fans eager for more, as people commented saying if the contest boiled down to Brett Cooper versus Rachel Zegler, Brett Cooper wins hands down. Months ago, Brett said she would love to play Snow White. Now she's getting her chance, and we see how humble and grateful she is. Unlike another actor, says Snow White weird, and because of all the positive reactions, some are even speculating that the Daily Wire's project might even end up outperforming Disney's version, which would be a massive Hollywood twist. However, it's already pretty obvious that audiences prefer studios to honor their blueprint, and seeing the difference in reactions to both trailers, it might send a very clear message to Hollywood if Brett's movie was to do better than Rachel's. Unlike Rachel, Brett highlighted that while the picture will still be relevant to today's audiences, it will not lose sight of the fundamental themes of love, bravery, and innocence that made Snow White such a popular tale for generations. Classic, a task that Disney appears to be dealing with. Rachel hasn't made matters easier for Disney either, with her many interviews, where some fans have considered her insulting, and many fans believe that some of Rachel's comments are a direct cause of why the movie may be doing poorly. One fan even remarked Rachel Zegler is single-handedly killing this movie. This has led to more and more individuals requesting that Disney step back and re-evaluate the situation, even calling for Rachel's removal from the production. Fans are eager to see which version of Snow White will eventually win over audiences. Will Disney's updated feminist reworking gain a new fan base, or will the Daily Wire's true retelling of the old fairy tale take the spotlight? Ever since Disney published their own teaser for the movie, it's been very evident that one is considerably better welcomed by audiences. It's not just the actor's fault, but viewers still have serious issues with the way the Disney movie looks. Visually, nothing about this screams live-action green screen and Shrek-level CGI, but at least Peter Dinklage got his wish to pull the step stool up behind him and make sure 7 little people didn't get some of the most iconic roles in storytelling. The fans' criticism regarding the CGI is especially relevant because we've seen in the past that a Snow White movie is possible with real sets and effects while still looking beautiful and magical. However, it appears that Rachel Zegler, the lead in Disney's version, appears to be feeling the heat. It's obvious that Brett's trailer has been better received, and rumors are swirling that Rachel isn't handling the competition very well. According to rumors, Rachel was reportedly furious about the new Snow White being made, especially after Brett publicly addressed her in several interviews. Brett didn't shy away from sharing her opinions on the controversies surrounding Rachel's portrayal of Snow White. In fact, she was quite vocal about how her version stays true to the original while also modernizing in a way that doesn't offend audiences. Meanwhile, Rachel's version continues to face backlash even after fans got the first glimpse into the movie. One source even claimed that Rachel allegedly said mine was better when reacting to Brett's film. The story has left many questioning if Rachel is actually disturbed by Brett's success. Whether or not the statement is true, it's clear that Disney would avoid acknowledging the Daily Wire's version at all costs. Drawing more attention to a rival adaptation would only fuel the competition, and with Brett's version already getting glowing feedback, that's a risk they can't afford to take. Some fans believe that Rachel's frustrations with Brett's version may even stem from the way the two are being discussed in media very differently, while Rachel even got really emotional, almost crying, as she expressed how painful the criticism has been for her.
Hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
As if the anger over her role wasn't enough, Rachel has found herself engaged in even more trouble since the teaser for Disney's Snow White was released. Rachel sparked extra controversy by publishing a tweet that appeared to take aim at her co-star Gallardo. The two have reportedly clashed over their opposing views on the Israel-Hamas conflict, which neither of them have remained quiet about. Rachel's tweet posted right after thanking fans for watching the trailer included the pointed comment "and always remember Free Palestine," which only added fuel to the fire, creating a divide between fans and raising questions about how the two stars will navigate their promotional tour together if they can barely stand each other on. Gallardo's involvement in the live-action Snow White has generated significant controversy, particularly among those who are upset by her pro-Israel stance. This political backlash has led many fans to withhold their support from Disney's remake, despite some enthusiasm for Rachel Zegler and her role as Snow White. The tension surrounding Doe's participation has created a rift, with a portion of the audience choosing to abstain from supporting the film, regardless of their feelings about Zegler's casting. Meanwhile, Brett Cooper's version of Snow White has emerged as a popular alternative, largely because it has managed to avoid the controversies that have plagued Disney's project. Cooper's film has garnered praise for its respectful yet contemporary take on the classic tale, balancing a reverence for the original story with a modern perspective. This approach has been well received by audiences who appreciate the film's thoughtful treatment of sensitive issues without alienating viewers. The positive reception of Cooper's version highlights a clear preference for adaptations that navigate complex topics with care and respect, making it a compelling choice for fans who are disillusioned with the ongoing debates surrounding Disney's adaptation. As Disney's version continues to face scrutiny over political and casting controversies, Brett Cooper's Snow White stands out as a favored alternative. The drama-free and engaging nature of Cooper's film has attracted attention and support, positioning it as a successful reinterpretation of the beloved fairy tale amidst the backdrop of the contentious Disney remake.